the building burnt down and she didn't take contents insurance, and she actually came back to me to say, is there anything that I can do? And I was like, I can't.
G'day guys, welcome to the MTDC Lounge. This is a podcast that breaks down everything you need to know about designing and building your ultimate home and what to expect. Whether you're a DIY renovator, a budding developer, or everything in between, we'll dive into the building journey, touching on what to expect, what's next, and how to go about it. We'll hear from a heap of experienced consultants and trades about all aspects. So let's get stuck in. Welcome to the Lounge. Tonight we've got Jess from Walker Kingston Insurance.
Thanks for having me.
Very welcome. So Jess is a local insurance broker in the Newcastle area. Probably one of the best, if not the best. She does a lot of stuff for us and for like us as a business at MT Design and me personally as well. So
Yes.
I think you're a perfect candidate to have a chat about, the wonderful world of insurance and, try and put a bright smile and a happy face to what is otherwise a very tricky subject to talk about.
It is, yes. Insurance can be scary for people, expensive, and usually when people need it, it's at a very stressful time as well. So it's a very important element to everything that you do in relation to construction, home, everyday life kind of thing. Yeah.
It's always usually the first thing that people try to cut away to, I find.
100%. So usually I would say it's like, I say it's an evil necessity. It's, you can self-insure. You can choose not to insure stuff, and you can choose to insure stuff, whether that's direct with an insurer or with a broker. But to me, not having insurance is like not having a roof on your house. It's great until it rains. Yeah, so it's
and then you need that insurance.
And you need that roof. Yes, definitely. So there's there's a lot of misconceptions about insurance as well, that it is always expensive, especially if it's going through a broker. The misconception is that you have to insure everything. So that's the, absolutely like everything in the kitchen sink, which isn't also true as well.
Yeah. So there's lots to unpack. So I'm so keen to get into it. So, what drew you first to the insurance world?
So I am going into my 20th year in insurance. I was a young girl trying to find what I was going to do with my life. And I started my insurance career at AAMI up at Charlestown. So a lot of people would probably know the big building that was there. It had the Smash Centre underneath. It was right on the highway, and they had I think it was 3 or 4 levels, and we were all in there. So I started in there. I got 2 weeks training, shoved on the floor to start chatting to people. And I used to get in trouble a lot because I'd talk too much. We used to have to be timed for how long we were on the phone to people. And they basically were I kept getting my team manager going time. And then so I started looking around and found out that the insurance industry is much bigger than just AAMI or AMI. And I found a small family-owned brokerage in Newcastle City and applied for a job, and I was there on and off for 13 years.
Wow.
So I loved it and enjoyed it. I started out in house insurance, so looking after people's homes. And then I went into claims, so I got to see the other side. So not just setting it up for people, but then, the claims side of it, which is really stressful for people. So you've got to remain in a certain, you've got to be calm, and you've got to be compassionate and hold people's hands through the process, depending on the severity. And after that time, I decided it was time for me to start my own thing. And so I started Walker Kingston Insurance Brokers. 5 years now I've been in that. So, yeah.
One of the things that I know personally, I know, when there's been insurance issues, I think what you do really well is is you understand the situation, and I know there's a lot of people. Like I know once upon a time when I was outside of, I guess yourself, I always dreaded calling the insurance teams. I always dreaded following that process because I knew I was going to be struggling. I knew I was going to be driving my point home, but nobody was ever going to listen. I have a very similar situation at the moment. I'm helping through clients through a building commission claim and an iCare claim, and what a nightmare that is. And I mean, it's I can't stress enough to people. It's incredibly important to have someone like yourself fighting or helping to fight the battles for you.
Yeah. That's probably the key word is you're fighting. I think as much as, I'm an insurance broker, I'm here for the client. So that's my role. And I wouldn't have my business if it wasn't for the client and advocating for them. So it's a huge, that's a huge piece to it. So being a voice for them, I've seen a lot of different claims over my time in different areas and different industries and different situations, and you have to tailor and adjust yourself to that. And if the client has to call an insurer direct and speak to a different person every single time and they're just reading brief notes, you lose confidence. They don't know your story. They don't know what you've had to do, and there's no real, that confidence piece, knowing that they're going to be able to help at the end of the day.
You're not going to be feeling like you're being cared for. You're just another 100%. Number to these people. So on that, and I mean, including all the builders and your clients and things like that, what drew you to, I guess, ensuring the building industry and the construction industry?
I love tradies. They're cool. I mean, I naturally drew to that industry, builders and carpenters and plasterers and tilers, et cetera, the list goes on. They're easy to deal with. They actually listen to what I'm saying, and they take my advice. And I just like that. I like that industry. I do enjoy that side of. I'm passionate about homes and all of that kind of thing. And there's also other people at the end of that as well. So if I'm representing that client well in a claim, their clients are happy as well. So I enjoy all that whole piece, really. But tradies are cool. Yeah. I just love that industry. Yeah.
It's super laid back, and I mean, if you get a good trading, if you get a good builder, like it's always going to be a great and smooth sail, I guess. So on the builder side, what do you see as the biggest gap, or what do you feel like the tradies could do to better cover themselves for anything that might go wrong?
The other side to that is tradies are time poor, and I understand that heavily. They're busy on the job, organising a job, doing all that kind of stuff. So this generally is to the wayside, and there is so much jargon and really it's a lot of carry on to get through. Some days I'm like, just get to the point kind of thing with when I'm reading documents and stuff like that. The gap really is that I think that some of the builders think that if they call up an insurer direct, there's one out at the moment which we use, but we don't use the one that the consumer gets. So that's probably another thing to touch on. We get a different version of that product. But BizCover, I find a lot of tradies and builders go to BizCover. They're calling up and they're saying, hey, I do X, Y, Z. I actually just had my third one that I had to educate around this. They're getting liability insurance, so the 20 million, standard 20 million to get on site or do a job, etc. And most of them have a big fat exclusion clause at the bottom to say that you're not covered while you're doing work.
That's wild. That's the whole purpose of having it.
It's the whole purpose of having it. So whether or not the person that was on the other end of the phone didn't probe enough with questions to ask exactly what they were doing and understand them. So it goes back to that piece of listening and understanding the client. the policy they'll walk out the door with is $1,500, where in actual fact they probably need a contract works policy, a construction works policy, or a more in-depth policy that's going to cover them properly.
What can they do? What can they do better, or what can all tradies do to try and minimize costs or any risks that they might find on site?
Like back to what I was saying before, insurance is an evil necessity. I think I had one guy that had that situation where they had a $1,500 policy and their client actually pulled them up, and they were embarrassed about that. The client had worked in insurance, so she was like, "You're not starting my job until you get proper insurance." So he ended up coming to me. He almost fell off the chair with the price that he had to cover with. However, dealing with the price of that, you can incorporate that back into your invoicing. If you are quite transparent with your clients that line on that invoice is for insurance. I don't know about people out there, but for me personally, I am so happy to pay that, to know that if anything went wrong, and a lot of stuff is out of their control, out of my control, that there's insurance there and it's covered. So minimizing costs, you speak to a broker. That's what they're meant. That's what we're here for. So we're here to sit down and run through what's important to you, what's worst case scenario, how can we tailor that, and then the next thing is how can we incorporate that so that you are not completely, turning your pockets inside out to try and pay for something. So,
and I mean, the better they're insured, the more confident and comfortable the clients are going to be, the better opportunity, the jobs are going to come through.
I dare say they will win a whole lot more work. That is a huge thing, because I'm definitely, if I had 3 people in front of me and 2 were not insured properly and 1 was, I know that they've gone out of their way to make sure that they're not only covering themselves, they're covering me. Yeah.
Well, that's incredibly interesting, because how can a client actually tell that? And because I for one 100% scroll right down to the bottom and say I accept these terms and conditions. 100% shouldn't, but how can somebody in the industry or building or designing or anything that they're doing, how can they know that they're going to be covered properly?
Look, if I'm being honest, me too, because if I'm dealing with solicitors or I'm doing contracts for something in my personal life, I'm scrolling to the bottom.
Yeah.
If I don't have someone holding my hand saying, hey, I need you to, so, if you don't go page 4 highlighted, read that, let me know if it's okay. I'm just scrolling past page 4. I don't, whatever, sign here. Look, I think, what was the question again?
So what can the clients?
So it depends on your project and what insurances that your trade or your builder needs to have. So if you are doing a renovation over the value of $20,000, you would need to get home builder's warranty, and that builder should, being the operative word, should have contract works if they're a licensed builder.
So that's also known as like HBCF and.
So for the home builder's warranty side of things. So I don't personally deal with that, but I do have a network of brokers that I refer that off to, because I'm confident and that's their niche and that's what they do, and they hold the builder's hands through that application process. Whereas the contract works is my area, my domain, and I hold their hand through that to make sure that's right. So if your build is over, your renovations or your build is over $20,000, you should have 2 certificates in front of you. One for the home builder's warranty, and then the other one is your contract work. So what the client needs to look out for, the homeowner, is what they're insuring, so the actual business description. And I would also go as far and ask for the schedule. So a schedule is the body of the policy, and it has all the exclusions in there. Look, we're in the world of ChatGPT now. So a client can actually run that through ChatGPT and find out exactly what exclusions mean what in there. And that goes back to the biz cover, or I not to slam them, but that's just generally what tradies go for. That $1,500 policy, if a client ran that schedule through, that's the first thing we'll say, hey, they're not insured to work on your house.
Yep.
And the other thing they should look out for is the dates.
Yep. So
when does that expire? So they generally have a start date and an end date, and that's really important. 20 million is basically the minimum base. Right now. Yep. They're the key things. And look, if it comes on if they know that their builder's with a broker, they can ring up the broker and ask if it's legitimate or, all of those things. There's ways for the homeowner to do their homework to make sure that they're covered properly. So to break that down, and I'll just elaborate on those two things on the over $20,000 build or renovation. So the home builder's warranty is there if the builder decides to skip town and not finish the build, if they go bankrupt, or if they unfortunately pass away and they can't complete it. So it steps in and protects that. The contract works is there for if, say, for example, the builder damages the existing structure if they're doing a renovation, or if they're doing a new build and there's a storm that comes through or a bushfire or anything like that and the site's destroyed. Even concrete pouring, if there's issues with the foundation, the contract works can step in and sort that out.
I hear it all the time about the HPCF getting picked up and never the contract works. So that's really interesting. So, and I know this might be a little bit of a cheeky question. Who should be paying for these insurances? Would the builder pay for? Would the builder or the tradie pay for these insurances and then pass it on to the client, or would the builder pass these bills on to the client to pay for these ones? Or who is, I guess, responsible for that fee?
The financial side, that's a good question. So the home builder's warranty generally is paid by the client because it's specific to that job. So it's just part and parcel of having that job. It's more to protect them, so it is in their best interest to be having that. In terms of the contract works, there's two contract works policies that a builder or a licensed trade can take out. One is where they note all the jobs on there. So if they know and they've planned out their year and they've got all of the addresses for their jobs on there, then that portion could go towards the bill for that client. Whereas if it's an annual turnover based one, then that's a little bit different. So it's up to their discretion, but I'm very transparent about all of my fees and costings and things like that. So I encourage clients to be as well. So in that instance, I say, please go and speak to your client about this, because it's also in their interest that they are covered there too.
G'day guys, just quickly, if you're finding this podcast info relevant to you, then I'd like to quickly talk to you about what we do at MT Design Collective. You hear us talk all the time about the importance of solid, detailed home design practices so that you're not left with extra fees, delays or unexpected costs in building your ultimate home. Here at MTDC, we design homes and provide plans that builders love to build and councils love to approve. If you're looking at a renovation, a new build or alteration, then we'd love to help you work out the next steps forward. Book a free, no obligation chat with us and we'll come out to your site, as it's the only way to truly get authentic, no bullshit advice. Link is in the show notes. Okay, back to the show. So if something goes wrong for the builder, or if something unfortunate happens, would you expect a phone call from the client at any point, or would you expect the client to call you based on their builder, or even to confirm, or even to show that they actually have that insurance?
I have in the past had that. I obviously can't go into personal details with them about all of that kind of stuff. But generally, I encourage my builders to say, if your client isn't sure, please give them my details and get them to call me. And if you give me permission to talk in depth about certain stuff, because the client doesn't understand what the ins and outs of what they're covered for as well. So that's important. It's back to transparency piece too. So if we get permission across the board to have the discussion, it's there. I'm more than happy to have that. I would prefer that everyone is educated on where that is. And it can get confusing. and insurers chop and change a lot. So we keep our finger on the pulse there. That's important too. Another reason to have a broker.
I get an email from you every year saying that you're changing up my insurance in the mob that you're going with to save me a couple of bucks.
I will move in a heartbeat if it's not in your best interest. Yes. So
and again, that's a huge benefit of having a broker. So I know I appreciate it. So knowing obviously that the builders don't choose the right insurance levels or the coverage for, and maybe walk away with a $1,500 policy, which is not ideal for anybody.
No.
Would you say that that's the biggest mistake that the builders and the tradies make, or do you think that there could be something? Better yet, is there something that tradies or the builders can pay attention to so they don't make those kind of bigger mistakes?
Look, I think again back to originally what I was saying people are scared of insurance because they think it's going to be extremely expensive. They're scared to talk to a broker because they think that I'm going to charge them the minute I pick up the phone to them. Really, like you say, you hear from me once a year. I give the people that I deal with the option 3 months, 6 months or a year. You can hear from me and we can touch base about stuff. Just pick up the phone and speak to a broker and just have the conversation. I think that's what they could be doing more. Get a review done. I can't speak for the whole population of brokers, but for me personally, I don't charge for reviews and I'm giving advice all the time. So if someone gives me a policy, I will say, that's great, that's all good. I would go back and tweak this, do this, make sure they understand, and then they can get on with it. Just take half an hour out of your year, and that's how silly it sounds, but take half an hour out of your year and then go and educate yourself on what you should be insured for. That's what they probably could be doing more. So
what would you say your fee structure is? Because obviously, like, you have to be paid, you have to have a profitable business. So yes. What is a broker's, I guess, an insurance broker's fee structure, and how would they do that?
Yep. So insurance brokers have two lots of ways they get paid. So we get a commission from the insurers, and that's for the policy that we choose for the client, or the client and I choose together, collaborate. And then the other side is an admin fee. It's a broker fee. So the commission is really, we don't charge for claims handling. Some liability claims can go on for years and we don't charge. That's hours and hours of work. If I need to escalate it to AFCA, which is the authority body, financial body in Australia, to fight it further against the insurance company, and I have gone that far many times. I don't charge for that. So the commission is just that for that policy. If I did the math, it probably won't work out. And then the admin fee is just a standard admin fee, is just turning the lights on. I've got an office, I've got staff, I've got, all that general stuff that a business has. I also have to pay my own insurances. I think people don't think that I have to. The bills come in for that, and they're astronomical for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got the personal liability, or like the public indemnity,
and professional indemnity. So for the advice that I give, my insurance is ridiculous. I think people would fall over if they saw the prices of that.
Anything, like even in the consultants world, like you're a consultant, we're equally the same. We have the same insurances that are required. I know that the eye care and like all the work, all the work, top. That's all crazy.
Workers' comp.
Yeah. So there are a lot of fees and charges when it comes to insurances, and like you said, you don't know you need that roof until it starts raining. So yeah. So yeah, 100%. So let's move on to the clients. The clients rather than the customers, the homeowners. So we look after the builders. The builders understand their processes and things like that. When do you think it's important for, I guess, a homeowner to start considering insurance, and when would they put that in properly?
The minute they're going to buy a house.
Yep. So
from the get-go. So if you're talking to a mortgage broker about getting a loan for a home, majority of the time the banks are going to say you have to have insurance in place. probably this is a good platform for me to say, don't just get building insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance should have building and contents. So a big misconception is that contents is your personal items only, like your socks and undies or your bed. It really isn't. It's your appliances. It could potentially even be, depending on the insurer, that is as well, because it's layered. If you've got solar, that's contents. If you've got blinds, carpets, curtains, if you've got fans, all your fixtures and fittings, that's contents. So people will just get their loan and they'll go, oh, the bank just said I have to have $600,000 on this building. That's all I'm going to get. But they ignore the content side of things, and something happens, they're in big trouble. They're out of pocket. It's huge.
Because you're not covered for the contents, because it's not building. It's not considered building, is it?
Not considered building. Yeah. Floating floorboards, contents.
Yeah, right.
Above ground spas and pools, contents. Yeah. Split system air conditioners are deemed as contents.
Yeah, right. Not
your ducted, but your split system. So that's the first thing I would advise people is don't just look at the building, because you're going to, especially if you're a first home buyer, they think, oh, this is my first home and I've just got the clothes on my back. And it's like, well, no, you've got all the interior of that place. And can you afford to not insure that? Like, are you okay to replace that if something happens? Then great, don't insure it. But if you're not and you've exhausted, like you're at your capacity financially, I would consider looking at a little bit. The other thing too is that if you're already got your home for a while and you are looking, say you've got your clients that come to you and they go, hey, I want to do a major renovation. If they've already got a house insurance policy, they'll have to let their insurer know. I highly recommend that. Insurers will do anything to get out of something. So disclosure. Yeah. Tell them everything that you're doing within reason. But if some of the insurers I deal with, if you're exceeding 70,000 in renovations, they won't insure your house anymore.
It's incredible.
And people don't realize that. Because again, like you and I, we're scrolling to the bottom of the page and we're not reading the fine print. So, get educated about what you're covered for.
Do you know what I found? I found recently for one of the clients that we're trying to help out through this industry, because they had a bit of a situation with a builder, and they had the home builders warranty. They did the whole process properly. They've gone through the eye care thing. They did everything. That aside, they had a hard time with that. They're still going through that process, but they've gone ahead and done their owner builder's license as well. Now, because they've done the owner builder's license, obviously the house is no longer insured because the builder's off the job, the HBCF, all of that kind of stuff is kind of stopped and put a halt on his portion of the side. And then the client has now got their owner builder's license. Getting that license, I spoke to her the other day, getting that license is going to cost her somewhere around, I think it was like $40,000 to get
to get the license.
Just to get the insurance, and then any claim through that insurance, because nobody would insure them because there was no OC and the jobs weren't done, and because the job was still open. I guess this is a huge rabbit hole. I'm just showing like it's really quite tricky to find an insurance method for people who are out there trying to build their own home and carry on from faulty builds previous. Yes.
They could potentially take out owner builders, like a single project. So in contract works insurance, you can do annual, which will cover several different projects over that time, or you can do a single project one, and that's generally geared towards owner builders.
Yeah, right.
So there is a product there for that. I guess it's circumstances behind that. Where's it up to? What's that look like, etc. The insurer, knowing that it's up to a certain stage, they may not cover past, but they may cover moving forward to get that finished off. So, and again, you speak to a broker about where you're up to, what that looks like, what's happened, and then we kind of act like detectives, and we piece things together and try and find what fits in that aspect. Yeah.
So, and how important is it for a a client or a homeowner to make sure that their builder is in fact, covered for the things that they're doing.
Do not hire someone that doesn't have the right insurance. We're not multimillionaire people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's like brush it off and move on to the next thing. Like, we invest into this. We've worked so hard to get to this point, to get this home, to do these things. It's been something that maybe a family's been planning for years to work towards. You want to make sure that your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted on that. Ask them if they've got a broker, or, check and do your due diligence yourself. I think that some people are also too trusting. You get a bunch of paperwork and it looks really fairly legitimate. You're going to want to go and investigate that a little bit further and do some homework on that too. Yeah.
From all the previous people that we've had on the podcast, they're always saying check your docs, check your everything, double check them. And then I think it's getting to a point now where you need these outside consultants, you need your insurance brokers, you need your lawyers to even check these HIA contracts or the MBA contracts. Like, without them, and if they're not filled out properly, or if something's just purposely skipped while you're skipping down to the bottom to click the I accept, you're missing out some things that the builders or some tradies decide to conveniently leave out,
or they don't know. Like, back to the $1,500 policies,
right.
They actually don't know because they haven't educated themselves either. This is why having a professional, I like to say, in the example of a builder, I'll use a builder as an example. They're a business owner. Build a professional team around you. It's so key. It's so important. Have your insurance broker, have your financial planner, have your accountant, your bookkeeper, have your solicitor for your contract stuff. Build that team, build a good relationship with them, and make your business that's what we're here for. We're here to give you the advice and the knowledge. You just have to pick up the phone and have a conversation with any of us, and we give you that advice. That's what, I'm here for my clients to do that. I don't just have 20 years experience just to punch in some numbers every year and go, here you go, that's what you're paying. Like, we're up to date with the industry movements and changes. Like, I go to developer meetings. I get invited to master builders events and sit there and listen to what's happening in the industry of my clients. So, it's important to use us for what we need, because your business, for a business owner, your business is one of your biggest assets. You've blood, sweat, tears, you've cut and bled to have this. I know I have personally. I'm a business owner, so it's important that we make sure that we maintain that and keep it going. We're not having a business to open up for a year and then shut it down. Like, that's just sleepless nights, long hours, constantly going, working weekends, taking laptops on holidays. Like, that's what we do as business owners. And I get it, they're time poor, but build your professional team. That's so key. I predominantly look after business owners, but I have a huge portfolio of everyday people I look after from referrals. And the same thing, I try and educate them and make sure that they know that they can lean on me for that.
Well, they're just covered. Like, everybody needs to know that they're covered enough. It's a big point in this world, and I guess how the industry is going inside and outside of the construction industry. Like, people need to know that they're covered. Mistakes happen, human errors happen all the time, and sometimes it's act of God. It just comes in and just ruins it. So
that's a legitimate description of some of the claims, an act of God. So, for example, everyone's different too. That's the whole point in having a conversation with the broker. Between you and I, we could have different things that we hold to value. So, for example, if something got stolen of mine, I don't really care that much. Like, whatever, I'll just replace it, whatever, I'll just get on with it. Whereas to you, that might be really important for you. Or a landlord, for example, they don't care about loss of, I'll backtrack there. They don't care about rent default because they've got a property manager. They've built their professional team for that property. That's not a concern of theirs. However, loss of rent is. So if the place burnt down, they're not getting the income because of something out of their control. So, it's everyone's different. That's why you need to have the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so you mentioned a lot about the builders and I guess businesses, because that's your wheelhouse predominantly, but it also rings very true for the clients as well, and homeowners when they're building their homes, having that team around them or having the people around them, their brokers and their solicitors and all those kind of things, and making sure everybody's kind of being looked after on both sides, and it's hugely important. Like it's just, you just can't give up one for the other, or just misplace one page or ignore a paragraph when it's important.
And it's tiring.
It is tiring.
So tiring, yeah.
So you've been in the industry for about 20 years.
Yes.
You've been 20 years. I don't believe it, but 20 years. So surely in those 20 years, there's been a major disaster or a major train wreck that you saw coming, that you tried to warn of. What were the warning signs of that one? How did you try and stop him or her? And what could have been avoided?
Oh, I've got many.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Let's think about. I've had the tradies that don't want to insure their tools, and then the tools get taken from site
every time.
Every time it's the tools.
Yeah.
And that's something I always touch on, because it's not so much like what a pain in the butt. You got to go to Bunnings, or you got to go to your suppliers. You've also got to go and replace everything. Do you remember what you had? Like, your job gets paused, things are delayed. You got to send your boys off to another site because they just don't. It's just a pain. And for a small cost, for a quick turnaround, like usually I'd say if that happened, just go out and buy them, send me the invoice and just get on with it, as quick as that. Whereas you're out of pocket, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, one thing that sticks out to me in particular is, and it's just more about the advice piece, not taking the advice. I had one girl that just wanted liability to get into a sort of shared space for her business. So there was multiple businesses in there and whatnot. And I really pressed with her type of business, please insure your contents, because if there is worst case scenario of fire, you're going to lose everything, and obviously you're not getting that back, but that's important to your business because you're a product-based business. So if your products go, you can't replace them. And she was like, no, just need the liability, whatever. And I still gave her a quote with, 2 quotes, one with contents and liability, one without. And she thought I was too expensive. She went to another insurer or another broker. The building burnt down.
No.
And she didn't take contents insurance, and she actually came back to me to say, is there anything that I can do? And I was like, I can't. And that pains me when I have to. I think the most painful thing is to say to a client, can't help. And I don't want to be like, I told you so, because like none of us want to do that. So we haven't been doing this long and see what we see, because it's happened, things have happened before. So we know what to do to risk mitigate or what is important in your industry. And if you're not going to take the advice, I don't want to say I can't help you. That's gutting, absolutely gutting. So not taking the advice is really, or, things like, ring your broker if you think something's gone wrong is probably a really key thing. The amount of times that people have tried to rectify stuff and made it 10 times worse, or it's bad. So like, I'm here to advocate for the client in the event of a claim. If I get you from the beginning, I can walk through that and avoid any more issues.
And that's where you, like, from the start, you're asking questions. You're asking kind of what you ask. I know you've asked me a million times. What's important to me? What, how many guys do I have working for us? How many computers do we have? How many cars do we have? All those.
What are you doing? What industries are you working in? Yeah. All of that. Yeah, because at the end of the day, right? If something happened, let's just say you were doing, let's just say medical centers. You're doing drafting for medical centers or whatever. and we didn't have that noted and something went wrong, the insurer is not going to budge on that, and it's game over there. Like, some things that go wrong in an event of a claim can shut a business. So I'm really hard hitting when I'm saying, what are you doing? Like, what some people might think I'm annoying, but I'm really pedantic about it, because I need to hold your hand and make sure that that insurer is doing what they're meant to be doing and we've done the right thing by say what we're doing.
Yeah. And that is incredibly important. And I know you probably hear it a million times, like you just mentioned it before, what can be done, or if anything at all, if they've got the wrong cover in place, what happens?
It kills me.
Yeah.
It actually kills me. That's the stuff that keeps me up at night. It's look, at the end of the day, it's just insurance, but like my business and my purpose is to make sure that someone is protected as best as possible, because again, back to that business owner's piece, or I'm a homeowner too. If I lost my home and I wasn't insured properly, I'd be absolutely devastated. So just making sure, because it's important. It's so important to cover yourself and make sure that you're not. I don't know, it really gives me, it makes me really emotional and upset that the world isn't fair. A lot of things that can happen in a claim may not always be the right outcome because it wasn't set up from the get-go. I've seen it with there's cowboys in every industry, so there's cowboy brokers out there. I've seen a lot of things that come across my desk that I think we got to change this immediately, because it's not, it keeps me up at night, really, at the end of the day. And people are like, it's just insurance, but it's people, it's everyday people. It's
people's lives.
It's people's lives, right? And if they lose everything they've worked hard for, and I think that empathetic piece comes in for me. I always go, if that happened to me, how would I feel, or how would I want someone to treat me in the event of a claim or whatever?
So I know you've just very clearly stated that you help all the people you possibly can, but there are obviously some times that you have to be hard. There has to be some times that you have to kind of come down on people. When, or if ever, have you ever dealt with a claim between a builder and a client? How have you dealt with that, and how would you navigate that if you're both or either?
Yeah, so my first priority is my client, hands down. Are they okay? Is everything all right? Like, all of that. I always get the affected parties' details and I step in and they only deal with me. And I've been yelled at, I've been screamed at, I've had phone calls at all hours from the third party of my client to protect my client, because they don't need to deal with that. That's not their job. So when that goes sour or things happen like that, the first thing I say to my client is give them my details and tell them to contact me. If they ever contact you redirect them back to me and I will handle it. A lot of the time I try and walk them through how to make a claim on their insurance with this and let the insurance companies work it out while we sort of navigate the back end. But yeah, I don't let that go too far. So priority is my client, protect them from that. I had a situation, I think it would have been a couple of years now. Time has no relevance anymore, does it? Yeah. A couple of years ago where one of my builders was doing a project and they were digging in the backyard. And on the dial before you dig plans, it said that the sewer line was here, but there was a decommissioned one which wasn't really decommissioned. So what that resulted is in the houses behind backing up with shit. Yeah. So I dealt with the two people that were affected with that, and they were mad, as you would be, right? They were yelling and screaming at me on the phone, and I have to remain calm and professional throughout that. But then I avoid that happening to my client because they have to get on with the build. So yeah, I'm the punching bag. It's frustrating and it is tiring, but that's the value that I add to that as well, because like, what are you paying me for if I'm not getting in the trenches with you and making sure that you're protected at the end of the day? things going sour in the sense of an insurer not paying out on stuff, look, I'll fight until I have no breath left. I will take it all the way to AFCA, and that's a really lengthy process. I did that recently with a client for the earthquakes that were in up Hunter Valley Way. Even to the point where I challenged the engineer in a letter and he got really upset.
I dare say you would have.
I mean, I'm no engineer, but he made it very clear he's been doing it for 30 years. But my job is to pull holes in things and make sure that my client's okay. Unfortunately, I didn't get that one over the line. And that was upsetting, and I spent nearly a year fighting that one.
Wow. Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So is there any way that clients and builders alike can navigate the process, or can they do anything that will make your life, or even their own and the builders or the third party, easier and a little bit gentler to get through?
Disclosure at the beginning. It's so key, because if you're disclosing stuff at the very start of the setup of the policy, when it comes to a claim, if an insurer tries to deny something, we can go, actually not. We disclose this here. We've done our due diligence, payout of that claim. So, I'm there from the very beginning to an end. I'd like to hope my clients don't ever have to claim, but like you said, act of God or things happen. That's just how it is. But if we get it right at the beginning, then we shouldn't have any issues when that time comes, and then we can just push through with all of that. Delays are sometimes inevitable if you're waiting for, supply chain issues with things. That always sets back, or sometimes builders have to move on to another job because they're scheduled to go on to that and they've got to come back to this one. Like it's a juggling act. Sometimes that's out of our control. But to do better, to, navigate all of that better, is speak to a professional, get clear about what you want, what's important to you, and then work around that. And things change too. I have builders that now want their tools insured. We're in everyone is feeling the pinch. Yep. Like it is, financially, everyone is having a hard time. People are stealing things. I even had a house at the end of my street that was getting demolished, and before it was just about to get, I was talking to the guys down the end of the road, and someone had come in and stripped it out with the copper.
Right. Oh, yeah, of course I did. Yeah, of course I did.
That's been going on for forever and a day, but also that's also like they're getting to the point where they're just stripping out like houses and stuff like that. So they're going to take your tools.
Yeah,
they're really going to take your tools.
If they're not tied down, they will.
If they're not locked up properly, they're gone. The amount of claims that you have where the tradies leave the side of their toolboxes open on the street and go in and work. What makes you think that someone's not coming to take your tools out of that?
All the time.
All the time.
Like when I was, back when I was on site, all the boys would always lose their stuff. It's just wild, and it's unfortunately a fact of nature, I think. And on that, do you think because of the cost and because of the because of the thefts and because of the rising prices and labor and materials, do you think they are directly affecting the insurance premiums? Yeah, well, that was quick.
Very quick. Yeah. Right. The rising cost of claims.
Yeah, okay.
So the insurer's footing the bill. So the insurers are a business. You got to look at it like that. They've got to make a profit. So they've got a little pool. So just think of the front of the shop is whatever insurer, and out the back they got their little money pool, and that's their little reserves if there is a claim to have, and they don't want you to claim, so that's why they fight you, because they don't want that pool to shrink at all. So you can imagine people dipping into that, taking out, so they've got to raise their premiums to fill that pool back up again, and that's their priority really, to make sure that they're still going. So if they're not around, we don't have insurance at the end of the day. So that's why, again, back to it's imperative to get your details right and get everything right. I think it's really important to make sure that you do allow your broker to shop around as well. With my homeowners at the moment, it's blown out of the water. House insurance, we're all angry about it. I think I can comfortably say for all brokers in Australia that we're actually really upset and angry about the domestic side of insurance at the moment.
Flood, earthquake.
We've had that many natural disasters, so you can imagine their pools out the back are really dry. Some of them have had government assistance step in, some of them haven't. And, you know, how do you expect the everyday person to pay exorbitant amounts to insure their home? So that's why people pare back, and it is, like you said earlier, it's the first thing to go out the door, and it really shouldn't be. I mean, for me, I remember when my premiums were like $2,500, and I live near a creek, and you know, body of water. So it's always alarm bells, body of water. And now I'm looking at $10,000 a year.
Wow.
And I shop around. You know, last year I went direct. I didn't even insure it with my own brokerage. I went direct. You know, and it's getting worse and worse, and insurers are dropping off. They don't want to take on that risk anymore. I really don't know where the future of it is for homeowners. That's why it's really important for people to get, you know, clear about what's important to them and work around that.
Well, it's interesting that you went direct, and like, I mean, I don't like. Obviously, you've got a business.
Yeah, like I cheated on my own brokerage.
Well, so what's I mean, because the clients would be asking that too. So why wouldn't they go direct? Why would they go direct? Why wouldn't they go direct instead of going to you? I understand the premise of you getting a better deal.
Yeah.
But if AAMI or somebody goes, hey, we're going to give you this red hot deal.
I encourage it.
Yeah, right, okay.
I'm really transparent.
Yep.
So, yes, that can affect my business, but also my transparency and honesty with all of that pays off in the end. I'd like to think that I have the reputation of being transparent. I don't want to burn bridges with clients, and I do genuinely care about people's, you know, well-being in that sense. When I have to send a premium at renewal that is $3,000 more than last year because I couldn't find anything better on my panel, I actually put a spiel in my email and say, please, can you go and quote direct, and whatever you find, send it back to me so I can check it. Back to, I know what my clients is important for my clients. So like I will scan that document and make sure that it's right. And majority of the time they circle back and come back to me a year later or 2 years later, or, you know, any of those reasons. But like, I don't need that. I don't want your money if I'm benefiting myself over you. Do you know, does that make sense? Because I just
you're really kind of creating yourself a paradox there, aren't you? You're not really supporting your clients if your whole job is
not their best interest.
You wouldn't be supporting your clients if your job is to support your clients, right? So you kind of
no. So like, and then also the commission piece as well. Like, I don't look at the commission. I look at the end. What does my client have to pay, and how is that different from last year? Am I saving them money? Because the commission part of it, like, it, to me, I'm quite, it's probably not really business savvy, is it? I probably need to, you know. Anyway, look, I've built that reputation because, like, if I can save you money, go direct, please. I would prefer that. My parents are direct. I couldn't help them this year. And so I went and quoted for them, and I found something astronomically cheaper that was near the same cover, and so I put them there.
Yeah, wow.
So next year when it comes up for renewal, I'll run it through my, you know, my programs and my insurers and see, and if not, we'll go out there again.
So we've touched on a few insurance mobs and I guess products. What's the difference? What's the difference between you know, your regular mums and dads home insurance, home and contents insurance, compared to that of iCare? So can a homeowner go and say, hey, I'm going to do a renovation on their standard home and contents insurance and not worry about the iCare insurance? What are the two differences?
So in terms of the iCare is the home builder's warranty insurance, which it depends on the limits. So they need to look into the limit of their house insurance that they currently have. Some of them are, say, 100,000. If they're at 100,000 renovations, they'll cover up to there, so it's fine. But if they go over that amount, they need to look at, depending on the trades they're dealing with, or if it's a builder. So you're referring to a builder directly dealing with them.
Could be a builder, could be a trader, because I know there are some trades out there that will split their contracts and say, I'll
It's
do
common. Yeah, 20 here, 20 there, 20 here, or under to 1999.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah, I know all about it. Yeah. I think that it's important for the client, again, to educate themselves on that. What is the overall cost of their build? If it's exceeding the limit that their householder's insurance will allow for a renovation, then they would need to look at home builder's warranty, which is through iCare.
So how do they know that their renovation would be covered under their insurance?
They should be engaging a builder that has contracts.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That is so important.
Yeah.
This is where it gets down to having a professional, having the right people around you. They're dealing with a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
That hopefully they deal with an insurance broker. They all have a draft person on board to build, do that renovation. The builder, there's all contracts involved with that. So why would you not have a contract with a builder, especially when you're laying out a whole bunch of money? It's really important. So, and speak to people around you. Ask your professional people around you, like the mortgage broker, insurance broker, drafty, have you done this? What does this look like, especially first time? That's so important, because the outcome of that is that you're going to be left high and dry with a loan to pay and an unfinished build.
Yeah. Where does the client's insurance stop and the builder's insurance start?
The minute it goes over 20, if it's for home builder's warranty, they should have that in when it's over 20,000. That's when it should really go in there. But when your coverage on your home stops is at that limit in your policy. So some are 70, some are 100, some might be 90. They have to go and refer back to what they signed up for.
So even if your cheeky trades decide to go that 1999, they could only do that 5 times at $100,000 if it's covered.
Yeah, and then this is where the insurers come. They will investigate.
Sure, they'll pick up.
You
on
don't
that
want
pretty
that.
quickly. Yeah,
you really do not want that. So imagine not doing all of that properly, and then you go to put a claim in, and they go no.
Yeah, that's $100,000. Doesn't matter how you cut it, 5 times or 2.
It's a lot of money.
And then that's one of the things I wanted to talk about too. Like, where's the red flags? Like how, like that's 100% a red flag. Hey, I'm going to do 3 lots of 1999 jobs, and then what happens there?
Ask the questions. Why are you doing it like that? Because do they not want to? Are they not licensed? Do they not want to take out home builders warranty? Because let's be real, the process is, and like I said before, I have connections for people that do that. That's their niche. They hold their hand, but it's tedious. They don't want to do it. They just want the money in the door. That's a red flag. You want to work with someone that's going to work with you in a pace that you are understanding, and that it's not rushing your money out the door either. And you want to make sure they're covered too. The certificate of currency situation, you want to make sure that you get that right. Check the name. Is it the right company you're dealing with? As well,
website, check the government
check
website.
their website, check ASIC, check all of those things, and make sure that they're legitimate as well. Because the other thing is, if they've got ABC Building Proprietary Limited on that certificate, but they're over here is BCD Proprietary Limited, that's not the insurance for them. All of those things the client needs to look out for to make sure that they are actually covered properly. And the home builder's warranty is so imperative. If that builder walks off site, or they pass away, or they go bankrupt, which we've just seen with COVID
1,000 times over,
so many times, trades builder gone under, and that's what it's there for, to protect the homeowner. It's a lot of money.
What do you reckon in what are the top 3 sentences that you would go red flag, not going anywhere near it?
Incorrect date on a certificate, no certificate at all. Oh, it's coming, it will be here. And wrong name. Yeah. Someone will, I've seen it. Yeah. We're a trading as. No, you're not. And then your ASIC, it says it's deregistered. It's not right. that's red flags, major red flags. You should always ask for those documents. A good builder would hand them over from the beginning.
Yeah. And we talk about it to every person that's been on the podcast so far. Go to the website. There's a spot on the New South Wales government website to go and check if they're registered as a builder or as a tradie, or if they've got their license as a contractor. And 100% they're the things you check first.
Education's key.
Always.
Massively, it is. And like the clients that I have are so diligent about that, and I love them for it. I've got builders up the coast that are commercial builders, and they're all over it, and I just love it. They know what they're doing. They provide these documents to their clients. They're chasing multi-million-dollar contracts, and I'm just woo-girling them from the background because I just think it's awesome. But I've been with them for a couple of years now, and they cross their T's and dot their I's, and that's who you want to be working with, that type of builder. Yeah,
well, there you go. Yeah. Well, there you go, guys. Again, communication, transparency, and communication. Education. And transparency every time. Yep. Jess, I really appreciate you coming out tonight, and thanks for making the world of insurance interesting. And I could ask you a million questions. So again, I'll get you back out. We'll ask you all the questions about the contract, all the contract clauses, and all the insurances and things to watch out in that. There's a million things that I can talk to you about. But guys, it's only got an hour.
Thank you.
All right, cheers. Thanks for listening to this week's ep of The Lounge. To make sure you don't miss out on the next episode, hit subscribe. We'd love to get the message out to more homeowners like you. Make sure you leave a rating and a review, and we'll see you on the next ep.